Hi there, and welcome to On the Spectrum. I'm Matt Asner, and this is my show. It's a show that is going to promote hope. That's as Shannon has said many times. Hope is my favorite four-letter word, and hope is what is going to drive this show. It's going to make us propel this show forward, and I'm going to need your help. So I'm going to need you to talk to me about hope and to let me know what's going on in your lives, and to tell me stories about uplifting things that happen to you. We're going to have a video of the day during this hour, and we're also going to have a question of the day. And I'm going to give you that question of the day right now. The question of the day right now is, as an autism parent or an individual with autism, what gives you hope? And I'm going to give you a little time to answer that. In looking for the video of the day, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to present on my first show. There are a lot of choices out there. You guys put a lot of videos up on the internet. I looked at a lot of stuff from the Autism Speaks website. I work for Autism Speaks and believe heavily in what we're doing. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that we have a little later on in this segment. I did see one video that to me really relates hope. It's of a young man having a meltdown, and he has an interaction with his dog that changes everything. And I want you to take a look at this video and enjoy it, because this is what hope is. This is what we're all here for, to find ways to make the lives of our children better, to find ways of making our lives better, to find ways of making, if you're an individual with autism, to find ways of making your life better. I mean, that's why we're here. That's what we all want. And so this video I thought was really apropos. So we're going to take a look at the video now, and then we'll talk a little bit about it after you see it. All right, so if there's a dry eye watching this right now, I don't know what are made of. That video, I watched that video and I thought, you know, we've all been in situations where our children have meltdowns. It's you know, par for the course. I remember one time I was at a local establishment and things just got out of control with my son, and we went out into the parking lot, and you know, as a parent, when that happens, you feel for your kid. You feel horrible because you know what they're going through. It's an endless amount of frustration coming out of them that they can't control it. And they know it's coming. They know it's coming, but they can't control it. And here we saw a young man having a meltdown, and his service dog calms him down. And to me, if there's anything that promotes the love of a dog, it's that video. You just see the change that comes over this young man when the dog starts to calm him down, and that's a beautiful thing. And as parents, we look for things that can do that. And you know, kudos to the parents of that young man for getting a service dog for him. Now, For my son, you know, I continue to look for things that that calm him down, and he's a little better now than he was when he was younger about meltdowns. He knows when they're coming and tends to separate himself from a situation, and it gets a little easier when that happens. But I still look for things that can calm him down, and to see this young man calm down by a dog like that, not just calm down, but to see the love between a boy and his dog, and how they can make each other happy at that moment, or calm themselves down. It's an amazing thing, and I just wanted to start the day off with that video because I thought, what better way to start this show? So the question of the day today, I think I gave it to you. It was, as an autism parent or an individual with autism, what gives you hope? I've got a couple of answers already. The first one is from Sharon, and she says, my son's smile, his laugh, this wonderful community of parents and advocates who are all fighting for the same thing. And that's very true. Then we have others with autism who succeed. That's from Abby. Then we have from Salvador, every new day gives us a new chance to start fresh and get a little closer to being all right. Amen. And then I have one that says progress, and that's true. And speaking of progress, let's talk about progress a little bit. One of the big issues of the day, of the year, of the decade, is employment. Specifically employment for people with disabilities, specifically employment for people with autism. This issue is paramount because we have a line of young adults coming into adulthood, and over the next 10 years, we're going to have 500,000 adults, new adults, adults that are looking for jobs, adults that are looking for housing. And we need to change the way we look at this. Employers need to change the way they look at this. We need to have a paradigm shift in this country and abroad that lets employers understand that when they hire someone with autism, they're hiring a model employee. People with autism are loyal, they are honest, they are always on time, and what better model can you have for an employee? We need to change the way we do things and employ these people, because there's a 90% unemployment rate, and we've got to change that. Autism Speaks is trying to change that, and in a partnership with thespectrumcareers.com, which was started by a young man with autism, we're trying to change that. The Spectrum Careers is a job portal, kind of like, you know, a Monster or a LinkedIn, that allows individuals with autism to look for employment and also allows employers to post jobs. Site is totally free, and it's thespectrumcareers.com. And I actually did a video with my dad, a promo for it, and I'm going to run that right now, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it.
Hi, I'm Ed Asner. If you can influence the hiring practices of a company, then please listen to a strategy that will help the company's bottom line. It is a fact that people with disabilities are productive, have low absenteeism rates, are creative, follow company rules, and bring unique experiences that transform a workplace. Best of all, their employers see a positive impact on their corporate culture. And 92% of Americans view companies having people with disabilities more favorably than those that do not. Go to thespectrumcareers.com and get started. Thank you.
So I urge you to take a look at the website, thespectrumcareers.com. And if you're an employer, sign up for that website. Sign up for it. If you're looking for a job, you're on the spectrum, you're looking for a job, take a look at it. It's a good opportunity to find work, and we're hoping that it grows and grows and grows. Thespectrumcareers.com. Now, the man you saw in that video happens to be my father. And I just have to tell you, it was very difficult to get him to do that video. I had to twist his arm, and I'm really actually just joking, because the number one thing he's worried about is employment. I have a 27-year-old brother who's on the spectrum who is looking for work, and it's a difficult situation. He's part of that 90% unemployed base, and we need to find employment for these people. So we are going to take a little break right now, and then when we come back, we're going to have our first guest ever on this show. And his name is Jonas Rivera, and he is the producer of a little film called Inside Out. Just a little film that's out right now called Inside Out. And we're going to talk to him about the unbelievable acceptance of Inside Out in the autism community, and just actually what a wonderful film it is. So when we come back, Jonas Rivera, we'll be right back.
It's every parent's desire for their child to have a great start in life. Yet there is a condition affecting more children's lives than pediatric cancer, diabetes, and AIDS combined. Autism strikes 1 in every 150 children.
Today, 1 in 110 kids in the U.S. will be diagnosed with autism. That is a huge jump from 30 years ago when it was 1 in 30,000.
Startling new report finds the number of children with autism is skyrocketing. The Centers for Disease Control estimates 1 in 68 children has a form of autism. Now that's a 30% increase in just 2 years.
Well, a lot of this with all the accomplishments over the last 20 years, I'm thrilled.
I think what kept me was the feeling that, you know, I would have a parent come to my office late at night at UCLA and just fall apart. And this is a long time ago, and there were much less back then in terms of services and knowledge and so on. And I would just sit with the family and the parents and walk them through and try to take away some of their fears, you know. And at that point I realized, I think the thing that's actually most important to me is that process. I mean, thank God that I've been very, very lucky and blessed to have so many incredible clinicians join me along the way and just develop CARD in such an amazing, magnificent way. That I could, you know, for me it was more really about how can I help the families? What can I do for the moms, the dads, you know? It is just, and I feel like, you know, there's no way I would ever really know because I haven't had my own child go through this, but I've experienced it with people a lot of times.
Hi, this is Megan. I'm in first grade all by myself. My teachers are so fabulous. I like to read books. I like to go to my friends' birthday parties. I like to invite my friends to my birthday parties. I once had a sleepover with a friend. I like to have play dates with my friend. I'm the best reader in my class. I like to go to the library. I like to read different series of books. And here's how I learned to do all these things. By my card friends and Dr. Grandpichet. Thank you, card friends and Dr. Grandpichet.
All right, we're back. Welcome back to On the Spectrum. My first guest ever is actually a good friend of my family. He also produced. His name is Jonas Rivera. He also produced a great film called Up, that I'm sure many of you have seen. And right now, he is the producer of a film called Inside Out, which is generating a lot of buzz here in the autism community. And people are really excited about it. And right now, I think we're going to take a look at the trailer. And then when we come back, we're going to have Jonas Rivera.
So, Riley, how was the first day of school?
Fine, I guess.
Did you guys pick up on that?
Sure did.
Something's wrong. Signal the husband.
Uh-oh, she's looking at us. What did she say?
Oh, sorry, sir. No one was listening.
Is it garbage night? We left the toilet seat up. What is it, woman? What?
I'm joy. This is sadness. That's anger.
What?
This is disgust. And that's fear. We're Riley's emotions. These are Riley's memories. They're mostly happy, you'll notice, not to brag.
I wanted to maybe hold one.
What happened? Sadness?
She did something to the memory.
Is everything okay?
I don't know.
Take it back, Joy.
Trying. Joy, no,
Let
wait.
go.
The core memories.
No.
Can I say that curse word now?
What do we do now?
Nothing's working. Why isn't it working?
We have a major problem.
Oh, I wish Joy was here.
We can fix this. We just have to get back to headquarters.
That's long-term memory. You could get lost in there.
Think positive.
Okay. I'm positive you will get lost in there.
What was that? Was it a bear?
There are no bears in San Francisco.
I saw a really hairy guy. He looked like a bear.
This place is huge. Imagination Land? No way. Dream Productions? Rainbow Unicorn? She's right there. I loved you in Fairy Dream Adventure Part 7. Okay, bye. I love you. You can't focus on what's going wrong. There's always a way to turn things around. It's broccoli.
Congratulations, San Francisco. You've ruined pizza. Who's the birthday girl? Brain freeze!
Hang on. Riley, here we come.
So please welcome to the show, Jonas Rivera. Jonas, how are you?
I'm so good, Matt. How are you?
I'm great. First of all,
Hey, I'm here with an old pal too. Look at that.
oh, I know him. I know
Yeah.
him. And you know what? I have one of those on my desk at work. I actually stole it from him.
Oh, good.
But let me tell you something. What an amazing, amazing movie. This film, I actually saw it last, I think 2 weeks ago, and I took 3 children with autism with me to see it, and it was amazing. It was just amazing. I'm from beginning to end, and I'm including the volcano short because I thought that was just incredibly beautiful.
Yeah,
So-
we're proud of that too. Thank you, and we're so proud of the movie. I've spent a good hunk of my life working on it, about 5 years all in, and I always believed in it. It was a hard movie, but now that it's out and it's being very warmly received, we're thrilled about the whole thing.
When you set out to do this, how did you come up with the aspect of a control room with the different feelings and that all kind of coming together? Because the film really sets it up very beautifully. Especially because she's a young mind.
Yeah.
She's young, so they're all kind of learning how to work together. And I thought you really did that wonderfully well. Can you talk a little bit about maybe how you guys came up with that and how that manifested itself during production?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that it worked and it felt right, because it was a lot of labor. It didn't always work that well in the story. I mean, we had to rework the story and the writing and the design numerous times, as we do with all these films, to make it work. But what we thought was important, and I think the film, this ended up in the film, was the script. You could imagine the script and the beat outline as we were coming up with this stuff without all the visuals of the movie. It leaned a lot towards science fiction, control panels and screens and buttons and knobs. And we didn't want it to feel too clinical. We wanted it to feel whimsical and fun. Pete Docter, the director, I mean, he's really the source of the story and the creator of the story. He said something early on that we really hung on to, which was he wanted this to be the mind as opposed to the brain. We didn't want it to be literal, inner space and so forth. So we just thought about, okay, we're going to personify emotions. What should they look like? How do they feel to us? And the fact that they sort of help pilot us. We did a lot of research, and one of the things we found in the research, talking to neurologists and scientists and so forth, was, and this sounds very simple, it's almost embarrassing to admit this now, but as we started off to make the movie, I didn't even think of emotions as having a reason to be, if that makes sense. I thought about emotions, but not that they would have specific jobs, but like there's a reason that you have disgust, for example. And so this idea in the research that they had jobs kind of led to the idea, well, they would have a room where they would work. They'd be coming to work every day, and they'd be doing their best to do a good job and so forth. So all this narrative back and forth led to this idea of a control panel and what we call the consciousness screen, and how memories might work. And it was a lot of feel with a little dash of science to try to make sure that it was somewhat authentic.
Well, and you did such an incredible job in terms of casting. I mean, each of those characters, has just the perfect voice, and they're not, they're all likable. They all make sense. And you feel for every one of them, and sadness is just such a great storyline there. Talk a little bit about how the delicacy of handling that, of sadness, because
sadness was tricky, and she's obviously an important part of the movie and a bit of a show stealer, isn't she? I mean, we again, it came up just back to the research of thinking about these characters as having jobs. And even as you say their names, like you kind of get what everyone's job would be. Like Joy's, obviously, her job is to keep Riley or her kid happy. Anger made sense to us. His job is about fairness. He sort of delegates fairness and keeps things fair. And so you can imagine that inside your head. And fear even it keeps you safe. So if you were to get bitten by a dog as a kid, you'd then avoid dogs, and that's out of being safe. Disgust was interesting. It was about avoiding being poisoned, literally, like from Darwin, like that face that you make when you're disgusted is to like expel something. And that felt easy to employ. But sadness, as we talked about it, it was curious. And as a parent, we thought, well, why would you want your kid to be sad? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. We do everything we can to avoid it. And so that became a fun hook to us. And thinking about, well, she'd be misunderstood, and Joy, our main character, wouldn't want anything to do with her. We originally had written her more of just a big crybaby. We thought it was funny, but every time sadness was on the screen, she would just be crying. And then when we found Phyllis Smith, who did the voice, who's such an amazing actress. Yeah, she's so funny. But what Phyllis, she brought this hesitancy to the character. So Phyllis says everything has a question mark on it. Like, I want to have lunch, and that, I don't know, that helped us define the character in a way that made her self-doubting, I guess, right. Which felt right for the story. Sorry, long story, but
no. I think what's interesting is, and you certainly see this at the end of the film. And if you don't stay for credits, make sure you stay for the credits, because there's some beautiful moments in the credits. And one of the things that I don't think I'm spoiling anything by mentioning is the wonderful way you show that everyone's different. That inside everyone is different. They're all very different the way they handle it, and they're all distinct personalities inside. All the feelings are distinct personalities, but the way they handle, I guess the hierarchy inside each person is different. And I love the way you handled that. You really treated that wonderfully well. And you got the feeling. I think you get the feeling as you watch the film that her setup is going to change throughout life, and I just thought that was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for saying it. I mean, we thought about, there's a scene obviously in Riley Joy is the main character, and so Joy is kind of center stage at the wheel, so to speak. And when you cut to Mom, and people have asked us about this, or Dad, there's a different emotion sitting in the center, and that really was there just to show that Joy might have a tenure that expires. I mean, you don't always, you don't always have the same emotion driving you for forever. People change and grow, and part of the messages of the film is that that's okay. That's life, right?
Exactly. We're going to take a look at a scene right now with Joy and Disgust, and we'll maybe talk a little bit after that scene about the reaction in the autism community.
Great.
Acting so weird. Why is she acting so weird?
What do you expect? All the islands are down.
Joy would know what to do.
That's it. Until she gets back, we just do what Joy would do.
Great idea. Anger, fear, disgust. How are we supposed to be happy?
Hey, Riley, I've got good news. I found a junior hockey league right here in San Francisco, and get this, tryouts are tomorrow after school. What luck, right?
Hockey?
Uh-oh, what do we do?
Guys, here, you pretend to be Joy.
Won't it be great to be back out on the ice?
Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic.
What was that? That wasn't anything like Joy.
Because I'm not Joy?
Yeah, no kidding.
Did you guys pick up on that?
Sure did.
Something's wrong.
Should we ask her?
Let's probe, but keep it subtle so she doesn't notice.
So, how was the first day of school?
She's probing us.
I'm done. You pretend to be Joy.
What? Okay,
It was fine, I guess. I don't know. Oh, very smooth. That was just like Joy.
So there's a little example about going inside the parent's mind and seeing a different setup, and it was just great. And so Jonas.
Yes.
So did you have any idea as to the amount of love and praise that you would get from the autism community?
No, I mean, it's such a great thing to hear, and we've read a little bit about it, and I know from your organization, it means so much to us, because obviously we set out to make, we just wanted to make a good film and a fun film and a film that was relatable and entertaining. Obviously, it was coming from an emotional, personal place. This movie was based on an observation of our kids. Pete came into work one day, Pete Doctor, and he has a 11-year-old daughter at the time when we started, and he had noticed, and I've seen her grow up, that she had changed, not drastically, but just she was once happy and bouncing around the studio and full of energy, and she 11 years old, and she, put on her headset and her hoodie and just was different. He said, what's going on inside her head? And we thought that was a really sort of sad, but also truthful narrative question that if done right, we could answer that in a movie. I guess like all of our films, we're just trying to create relatable characters that are fun and entertaining, but also truthful. You know what I mean? Whether it's an old man that flies his house away, or cars that talk, or bugs, or humans, or emotions, just something that's gettable and clear. And when we sort of heard that the autistic community responded and saw it the way we see it, it just meant a lot to us. It's hard to even put it into words, to be honest.
Well, I think every film that you guys do is a film that inspires people, that touches people. I didn't expect. I got a little story here. A little segue here.
Good.
When my dad took me up to Pixar to see Up, he sat me down, and I was a big Pixar fan. From the first film, from Nemo. And that was the first film, right?
Toy Story was the
Toy
first.
Story, I'm sorry. So I was a big fan from Toy Story. But I sat down and I watched Up, and I was weeping during the montage of their life together. I was weeping by the end of that. I looked at my dad and I said, why didn't you warn me about that? Because I was embarrassing myself. But I think, your films touch on something that a lot of other films, don't take the time to really look at. And that is, the really, truly important things in life, and what makes us who we are, what makes us individuals, what changes us as people, for good or bad. And you're not afraid to look at that. And I think you really see that in this film, in Inside Out. The main character is going through some very, very deep, profound changes, and you really take a look at that and you tell a beautiful story that is uplifting and very touching. And I think, and kudos for that.
Thank you. It's very nice and kind words, and we appreciate that. You know, your father, and you mentioned casting, and one of the things, whether this has anything to do with it or not, I think it does. I remember talking to your father, at our first session, and with Pete, and we had the very same conversation with our cast on this one, with Amy Poehler and Louis Black and everybody's, and that is, when people come to an animated movie, I think, to act, they think in their heads like they have to put on a voice and do an animated voice, and we always say, no, we want your voice. We wanted your father's voice in that movie as a real person. We didn't want to push it and caricature that. We would let the visuals do that. We were after sort of truth and real people. Again, even though their emotions are doing things that you can't do in the real world, we are after those little bits of true life that I think it's that's what connects to people. I mean, they're in Finding Nemo, you mentioned Nemo, and they're little fish, but people respond to them as a father and a son. And I don't know, we as animators, we're observers, and we try to find those truths and put them into our films because that's what makes them important to us. We knew Pete Docter was a great friend of a gentleman named Joe Grant, who was one of the great writers and artists at Disney, worked for Walt Disney. He wrote Dumbo along with another guy, and we got to know him by proxy through Pete. I got to know him, and he told us something that we always remembered, which was, when you're making a movie, when you're so lucky that your job is to make these movies, you always want to ask yourselves what you're giving the audience to take home with them. You're asking the audience to come and spend 2 hours or 90 minutes or whatever of their time, and they want to be entertained, but you also want to give them something that will rattle around with them and be meaningful. And those are the movies I grew up loving, Dumbo and Pinocchio and all those movies I grew up with as a kid. And that's, I'm not saying our movies are that at all. I'm saying that's sort of the bar we set for ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I think they are that. I think these films are the new classics. They are the films that will survive, that will be with us, that will mean something to our generation and the generation coming up, for the next 100 years. And Dumbo, you mentioned Dumbo. Dumbo is a great example. Dumbo is probably one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen in its telling of a story of an orphan, basically, and it's an orphan that's taken away from his mother, and it's a beautiful, complex story that is very uplifting at the end, and you guys definitely follow that model so well. So we're wrapping up here, and I just want to thank you for joining us today. And I'm a huge fan of Pixar. I'm a huge fan of you, Jonas, and I'm a huge fan of Inside Out. And I just want to tell you a little story. I was with my father this morning, and we were driving somewhere, and I told him I was going to be talking to you, and he said, "Oh, give him a big sloppy kiss from me." So I'm miming a big sloppy kiss for you. And there we go. And he also
him. I love the whole Asner family. You guys are part of the Pixar family. You know that, and we love you guys and what you do. And I'm honored to be your guest today. I really am. So thank you,
Jonas. Guest number one.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
And my dad also says anytime you want to call him, to reprise the role of Carl for Up To, he'll answer the phone.
He'll answer the phone. I will call him. I look forward to seeing him soon.
All right, Jonas. And say hi to your parents for me.
I will. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonas.
Bye-bye.
Jonas Rivera from Pixar. If you haven't seen the film yet, go see it. It's called Inside Out, and it's amazing, and you will enjoy it, I promise you. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you're going to meet my better half in a segment that we're going to do every week called Family. So we'll be right back with Nava Pasquitz.
Here mid-swing on this wonderful day, this wonderful walk with Mr. Matt Asner. Talk to us about today's walk. Do we have any facts, figures, numbers, or just pure emotion?
Just pure emotion. I'm about to get the numbers. We'll see what it is. Okay. I think it's probably close to 1.6, probably. That's my feeling. But it's incredible. We had 55,000 people plus here today, and you know, honestly, I've been here 7 years. It gets better and better and better. So.
And really, what you fostered here today is hope. I know that's your favorite four-letter word.
Where are we without hope?
Where are we?
Really, I mean, seriously, where are we without hope? Hope is everything. Hope is eternal.
This is a pretty big event. Every year I love it. What does this event mean to you?
Well, I just think it's great that you see so many people coming out to support, autism.
So we're here with Max Burkholder. There's a whole community of people that are going to love you no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, and that's the autism community. Are you okay with this? Is this a good thing?
I'm pretty okay with it. This seems to be a pretty happy, supportive community.
Well, what did you learn about autism through portraying this wonderful character?
Sort of the individuality of it. You know, like with autism spectrum disorders, a tendency is to sort of generalize everybody with sort of the same degree of affliction as sort of exactly the same, and very generalize them a lot. But something I found while just talking to everybody, and that I tried to put into the characters, just the sense of individuality that all of them have, everybody has. And so at a certain point it became not really even portraying autism, it just sort of became portraying the character.
I want to thank you on behalf of everybody for what you do.
That's very sweet.
To bring awareness and to raise money. That's a tremendous, tremendous legacy. But as a dad, you've got other things that you're doing as well.
Yeah.
I want to know, as a family, if you have any advice, what's been something that's been helpful to you personally?
You know, get your autistic kids out in the community. I mean, my son's got a guide dog, so he goes to a lot of cool places. He surfs, he skis, does gymnastics. He's actually trying Hebrew school. I'm not quite sure if he knows what's happening there, but he does all kinds of cool things, and he has a lot of friends. Right now, most of his friends are the adults who take care of him, and over time, hopefully he'll have more friends who are his age, and you'll see him walking around, and people won't be nervous around him. The dog's been very helpful with that. It's like the dog is like the most infectious thing in the world. Like, everybody wants to be near the dog, and he sees that, and he gets some of that affection laid onto him. So as a family, you know, we're just there to support Tyler and make him happy.
The Institute for Behavioral Training provides courses in applied behavior analysis for the treatment of autism. Access IBT e-learning videos on the move and learn at your own pace.
I'm going to talk a little bit about intensity.
IBT e-learning makes any location your classroom on the go.
So our objectives for today are to really learn what is autism and how is it diagnosed.
Get professional guidance with IBT face-to-face training. IBT face-to-face training courses prepare you to effectively implement ABA-based interventions. Choose between small group and one-to-one instruction. Earn BCBA supervision hours via one-to-one video conferencing.
So I had a chance to review your BIP today. You know what? It looked really good. You did a good job with it.
IBT continuing education courses. Earn credit through webinars, conferences, article reviews, and e-learning videos. You can learn more at ibehavioraltraining.com. IBT, 360 degrees of ABA training.
Hi, welcome back to On the Spectrum. I'm Matt Asner, and this show is about hope. Like I said before, hope is my favorite four-letter word. We just spoke to Jonas Rivera, and I've got to say, like I said before, if you haven't seen Inside Out, you have to go see it. There is something about that movie that that touched me. And like I said, we brought 3 children with autism to that film, and they loved it. Absolutely loved it. So thank you, Jonas Rivera, for coming on the show, and good luck in everything you do in the future. So we're going to talk right now with my better half, and she is an incredible lady that I'm lucky to call my wife, and she runs something called the Friendship Circle in Pacific Palisades, which is an organization out of the Chabad. And we're going to do a segment every month. Every month we do the show. I think I said week before, but it's a month. I'm doing a monthly show, not a weekly show. Let's get that straight. But I'd like to introduce you all to my wife, Nava Paskowitz, Asner.
Thank you.
And she's going to be a part of this show every month. And we're going to talk about family and about things that drive us crazy and things that threaten us. And it's going to be really personal, and right?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you ready?
Try to give people hope.
Are you ready to do that?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, what do we do for the first, what's the first thing that we're going to do together on the show? And I thought, you know what?
It's a family show, Matt.
Okay, it's a family show. We've established that. It is a family show. But I would really like to talk about how we met.
Okay.
I think that would be the perfect origin kind of thing.
Okay.
First episode, first issue kind of thing. So let's talk about how we met. So
Do you want me to, or you're the host.
I'm the host, so I'll start.
Okay.
So I was sitting at my desk one day, and I get this phone call. Now I've known Nava's brother Adam for 16, 17 years now.
Long time.
And Adam was my neighbor and lived right across the street from me.
Mm-hmm.
And we became really good friends. And when I got the job at Autism Speaks, we spoke. And Nava, Eddie, her son Eddie, her youngest son Eddie, had just been diagnosed with autism, like a month after I was hired.
Yeah,
a month.
It was very weird, the timing of it. It was very, I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
With everything that happened, it was kind of like everything domino faded from that time frame.
Exactly. In my job as executive director, I talked to a lot of families. I talked to a lot of moms that had just gotten a diagnosis, and that was something I did quite a bit of.
Yeah.
So I get a phone call from Nava, and she's very nervous and
crying,
and very upset, and we had a great talk, about an hour probably.
Longer.
Longer?
It was a long
Okay.
time. Because I remember saying to somebody, here this huffy, head of this huge organization, he's a friend of my brother's, but he doesn't know me. And you took a crazy amount of time just listening to me and giving me hope, by the way, in a very dark time in my life.
Well, I was in that position myself, and I didn't have anyone to talk to. I had my dad to talk to, who had gone through it with my brother.
Right.
But it was different. I did not have that voice of reason. I didn't have that voice of hope. Mm-hmm. And so whenever someone called me to talk to me about that, I would stay on the phone with them for forever.
So I wasn't special.
No, but you became special. No, I mean, you were special because you were my friend Adam's sister.
Right.
And that was
And you knew
special.
my dad also.
And I knew
Ed,
your dad.
Ed and my dad were friends.
Absolutely. And so so we really started as a kind of a
family show, Matt.
Volunteer kind of.
Yeah. No, I think from there the biggest step for me was that you recommended I join a mom's group, a support group. And that really changed my whole life.
Yeah.
That changed my whole life, to have the support and the just the experience of moms like Priscilla Picard, who had been through this time, and You know, I was going through a horrible divorce at the time, and so a lot of the moms, 85% divorce rate, as you know, in
Yes, I
special
do.
needs families. And so we were both going through not just, you know, my similar experience with Eddie, but we were both going through divorces. And I think, and I know you'll agree with me, that we became best friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And we would talk for hours about things that I think a typical boyfriend or girlfriend with a typical family could never relate to. You know, you would tell me about your day, and if Will had had a fit that day, and if I was saying that at the time Eddie was nonverbal and he was having tantrums all day long at the time. So it was that commonality that we had that nobody could.
Well, and I think we were emotionally in the same boat, very much in the same boat.
We were.
And I think we really ended up helping each other and becoming good friends.
Very good friends.
And then it just kind of happened, right?
Yes.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Now
Old
we're married.
couple.
But we have a large family.
Yeah.
We have a large
6
family.
kids. We have 6 children, 3.75 on the spectrum. And, you know, each one of the kids is unique, even the typical ones. But it's a handful. You know, I was telling somebody yesterday that my advice to any parent is to really take the time with your husband or wife and your partner and just have that reconnection once a week, or else that 85% divorce rate is going to, you know,
Well,
increase.
and I do have to say we're lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
Because we do get time together, you know, and I think that's a very special thing. And I would say that to anyone, if you know there is you know respite out there, and I would use that respite to connect with your significant other. You know,
Well, it's vital.
It's vital. It is vital. It's vital not to lose that, you know, that part of.
Can I use that as a segue to
Yes.
what you and I together are trying to accomplish with the conference?
Yes. Why don't you talk about the conference? Because
the
I
conference
think people want to know.
It was like an offshoot of.
But you have a conference coming up.
We have a conference coming up, but it was an offshoot of the mom support group. So we have this monthly free support group for moms, and we have this support group. You can reach me anytime if you need help. And we felt like there was a missing element to it, that it was all about the moms. There was a huge missing piece of supporting the entirety of the family. And by doing, the only way we could do that is to bring in the dad's aspect. And so the expert, Mr. Matt Asner, stepped up. And so with our conference, this coming conference is called Balance. And it's about bringing balance into the family and supporting the entirety of the special needs family. And I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that we have an element for siblings with an MFT. Carrie Bowers, who's incredible, is going to do a sibling support group. Another dear friend of mine, Maddie Wolf, is going to do a nutritional element and telling us how we can bring different foods into our lives to give us energy when we've been up all night with our special needs child. We have the glorious John Sahakian, who's going to be in the yurt and teaching us mindfulness.
You didn't call me glorious. What's going on here?
Well, you need to be in the yurt more often.
I guess so.
I
guess so.
But no, he's teaching us, he's also teaching us balance and mindfulness and breathing techniques. And I have an upcoming enrichment for moms with John on the 21st. And you can get more information about that on our website.
It's like a John teaser, right?
Yes.
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 Okay. So, you know, I got to commend you on this because I've seen you working on this for months, and I've seen you kind of put this together, and I really applaud you on your vision because I think you've taken something, you basically put yourself into a position where you said, you know what, this is what's needed. As a mom, this is what I needed. As a family, we needed this, and I think you really are taking it to the next level. And I don't think I haven't seen anything like this. So I applaud
Well, I'm
you for
hoping
your,
that we can, you and I together, can bring this nationwide. That we can go to different friendship circles and really show them how to model this program because it's so needed. 85% divorce rate in special needs families, and the Friendship Circle as an organization has always been about supporting the child, and I want to rethink that and have them really continue this kind of full family support in the future, nationwide.
Well, and I mean, there are a few, I've seen a few dad support groups, but there are not many, and the way we're going to do this one, I think is going to be really special.
And bringing surfing into it. I think it's important to, with my background of surfing, I want to make that unique, make us unique in that respect, that we're Pacific Palisades, we're 1 block from Sunset Beach, and eventually turn the dads group into a surfing club,
That's great. You want me to lead that, huh?
Yes, yes.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'll hang 10.
Okay.
All right.
I'll teach you.
Okay, good. Okay, so, are you excited about this this endeavor with me? We're going to do this show
I'm very
every month.
excited. I'm always excited to be with
Now,
you.
you have to promise me, though. You have to be honest with me. And
I'm
here-
always
when you're
honest with
here at the show, we have to be honest, and we
Okay.
have to talk about things in an honest
No,
way.
I agree. I agree.
Right.
People need, I think we can help a lot of people with something like this and get it out there. And, if we just help one family who's going through what I was going through that day, I think we've done a lot.
Well, I mean, I got to admit, when I was going through what I was going through, I didn't think I would be with anyone. So it was a shock and surprise and wonderful and beautiful. So thank you.
I'm happy to oblige.
So the question of the day.
Okay.
First of all, before we leave that, I want you to tell everyone how they're going to go to your conference.
Just go on www.fcbythesea.org and you can find all the information and sign up, and any information that you need, you can call us anytime at the Chabad, and but the website you can get any information.
And how much is the conference?
It's it's $125 per person. However, this is the first year that we are fully vendored, and we have a vendor ID number. So ask your supervisor at your regional center to call us, because a conference is covered by your regional center, your local regional center, and it's made a huge impact on how many people can attend.
That's great. And how does that work? They call
They
them
would get in touch with their personal supervisor, who's in charge of their case, and their supervisor would reach out to us and say that they were covered. So it's very simple. It wasn't a big deal. There was not a lot of paperwork. You just have to ask for it, because most people don't know that they actually have it covered.
Well, good. That's great.
I'm excited.
And do you want to give them any kind of incentive for signing up for the show? Do you want to throw something
I
their,
think that
their way?
if anybody would be willing to sign up by Monday, that we would be willing.
Well, actually, Monday the show we're airing on Monday.
Okay.
So you mean next Monday?
If people sign up by the 18th, then they can receive $50 off. Of their
$50
sign-up.
off by the 18th.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
And they have to sign
$50
up
off.
because especially the siblings component is filling up.
Okay, great, fantastic.
Thank you. I'm excited.
You look very pretty today.
Thank you. So you look very handsome.
Thank you very much. Let's talk a little bit about the question of the day. I want to read a couple more answers, and then we're going to say goodbye and until next week.
All right. Next month.
Next month. Next month. The question of the day, once again, was as an autism parent or an individual with autism, what gives you hope? So I'm going to ask you that.
Oh, that's an easy one for me. I would say what gives me hope on a daily basis is my husband. And the support that you give me on a daily basis, even when I want to strangle you. I know that you're there for me always, and I'm always there for you. And just feeling like even when things get as crazy as possible, and one guy's...
And they do get crazy.
Oh yeah, the two guys perseverating, is that the word? Together at the same time, and we just look at each other and kind of laugh.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for it.
Well, I'm glad to be going through it with you. And I have the same answer, actually.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
So we have a couple other answers. Katerina Says that the world will be more accepting and there will be promising future for my daughter and others coming up in age. Then we have Rosie, progress being made daily in research and educating the general public, as well as better outcomes and more opportunities. And then she says, Rosie Reeves, Los Angeles Special Needs Kids Examiner, because I'm going to say that because she wrote it in the body. Then let's see, we have, a lot of these are long. Here we go, here's one. Bianca, progress, heart. Supportive community, heart. Loving family, heart. Invested teachers and aides, heart. Awareness, heart. And acceptance, heart. And those are a lot of hearts.
Really good.
And that's
Blue
a lot
hearts.
of hope.
Blue hearts.
Blue hearts. Oh, you saw it.
No, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah, they are blue hearts.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
You're good. Then Beth. Beth says, seeing all the progress my son Thomas Selby has made
Aw.
over the years, when I
Beth.
don't know who it is, from a nonverbal 4-year-old to a 22-year-old young man who
Wonderful
speaks in front of
Thomas.
250 plus people.
We love Thomas.
Watching him advocate for himself, becoming more self-sufficient, there is hope. And you know what? Thomas is amazing. He's going to be
He's
another
the
guest
paradigm,
of mine.
isn't he?
He's incredible.
He's wonderful.
I
Kid.
love Thomas.
Man.
Let's see here. And of course now it froze. No, there we go. Okay. So then we have Paul, Love, and my dad is calling me for some reason. Tony B, good friend of mine from the Adolescents.
Oh, really?
Band from my youth. Music, of course. Tony
Yeah.
would write that. Michelle, progress, love, and support. Johanna, when Aiden smiles and he is happy, or Joanna, excuse me. Anne, children are wonderful and they grow and change and delight in the small joys of life. And it's so true.
I like that one.
So, okay, so next month, we're going to do a big celebration. I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to have Ed Asner here. We all know who he is.
Aw.
We're going to talk about a big poker tournament that we're having in September, on September 12th, at the Hayworth Showroom. Ed Asner and Friends Poker Tournament.
Excited about that?
I am. Aren't you? You
I'm
don't
not
play
much-
poker.
No, you're the poker
Yeah.
player in the family.
And then we'll also have Kristen and Chris Stills in to talk about this year's Light Up the Blues.
Oh, that's going to be
which
big.
it's a packed show, right?
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
and we're going to play a lot of songs from Light Up the Blues. So it's going to be fun and exciting. And Chris Stills hopefully will play a song on his guitar.
Cool.
For us. So, and then the other thing is we're going to talk about the Missing campaign, the Missing research program that Autism Speaks has, that I feel is one of the most important things at Autism Speaks that has happened since I've been there, and that I'm most proud of, because it's open science.
Yeah.
Because we're taking something, we're creating it, and we're opening it to the world, and we're not trademarking it, we're not. We're not
But
claiming it.
giving the opportunity to some little scientists in
Absolutely.
some far off region
In-
who will figure it out.
Yeah.
The same opportunity.
Anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'll be talking a lot about that next month. And until then, I'm really glad you joined me for this inaugural voyage. And a little bit of bumps, but I think we did all right. And I'm really proud to be here. I thank Shannon Penrod and the card team for having us in and for giving us the opportunity to inform people about the good things that Autism Speaks is doing, and also to spread some hope around, because it is my favorite 4-letter word, and that's why I'm here. I believe it's fuel for our car, which is our life, and hope is our fuel. So until next month, this is Matt Asner signing off, saying, fill your lives with hope. Thank you.